Yeah, one of those. It is too early in this project for this to be this much frustration, which really it's minor things, but just knowing that the timeline is as tight as it is. Most of those shows you see on TV, I'll tell you straight up front, half of it, I'm not saying all of it, but half of that dramatized down to the wire is BS. Half of it. Not all of it, but half of it. However, I really do have a deadline of legit 3 months to do all of this. So again, it's a little early for this much frustration, and it normally wouldn't be a huge deal, and it wouldn't be that much frustration, but again, because of the timeline, it is. So basically a number of things. Since the last I've talked to y'all, I went ahead and tore the motor most of the way down so I could see what I have, and I'll show you what's going on there. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it's not great either. And then some parts showed up, which today thought I was going to be like super swift swell and just stoked that the parts that were showing up showed up, and I was, until I unboxed it or unwrapped it. And I'll show you that here in a minute, so you'll understand some of my frustrations. Not how I want to do an episode, not how I want to start this off with, but hey, you know, real life, things don't go according to plan always, and you know, sometimes you're gritting your teeth trying to remember to keep it PG. And that's how it goes. That's life, right? So we'll get through it. Just another obstacle, as my uncle likes to say, endeavor and persevere. So that's what we're gonna do. Come on. All right, let's get the camera set up. I'll show you what I got going on with this motor, shall we?
You got me down again.
Okay, as I said before, I'd already tore the motor down most of the way-ish. Still gotta get the water pump, timing cover, a few other things off. There's a fly. That's crazy. Well, he moved. Anyway, get the distributor out, still gotta get the cam out. The reason the cam isn't out, obviously, is because timing cover and all that fun stuff's on, but also these lifters don't come out through the top. These are solid lifters, and you have to actually take them out after the cam's out. So you need to flip it upside down or get clothespins or something to hold the lifters up so you can get the cam out this way. But if you just flip the motor upside down, obviously all the lifters fall to the top of the motor because it's upside down, then you pull the cam out. Anyway, so the problems, and I know some older guys, some old timers are gonna look at me like, oh, that's not that bad, and I know it's not, but you can see, it's hard to get lighting, right? Anyway, you can see down at the bottom of the cylinder there, that is some pitting, some light rust. You can kind of hear that, I'm assuming. And it's in a few cylinders. That is the worst of the pitting, but this, let's see, which cylinder was it? Can't remember which cylinder it was now. I believe it was this feller over here. Yes, this feller over here. You can kind of see this ring impregnated into the metal, into the cylinder wall. That was the one that went to poop. It did not go well at all getting that one out. As a matter of fact, let's see here. It did not survive the trip out. It checked out, left the conversation because I forced it to. And it's hard to tell, but as you can see, the rod didn't hold up so well either. And that's because when I was trying to get it out, all the other ones came out, and that one was the reason the motor was stuck. And let's see, you can see with the rod bolts, you can see how much rust and carbon from sitting over the years is between the rings to where there isn't even a gap between the rings right there. Anyway, so that was nicely jammed up, and brass punch hitting on it wasn't coming out. Wooden block, hitting on the wooden block wasn't coming out. Finally, I just made the decision to take a punch, drive on the end of the rod. I know, you're not supposed to do that. Trust me, I get it. Done this before, but it wasn't moving, and I was getting frustrated. And I've tried brass punch. I've tried, odds and ends. Okay. So when she dropped out, I couldn't catch it quick enough because it just went all at once when it finally got to the edge and did give way. And when it hit the ground, the rod slapped up, broke the skirt on the piston, and now I have that. But knowing what I know this motor is going to have to be bored. I don't know how much. And the owner, after having a conversation with them, they would really like to keep this original motor. That's all well and good if you can get the rods that I damaged and the pistons, the oversized pistons to bore it. This is a 239 Y block. Now, if this was a 239 flathead, I wouldn't be as concerned because I know they make, bore kits and oversized piston kits still for the flatheads just because they're so popular. Traditional hot rodders, love them. I hope to build a couple more. My uncle's built one or two of them, has one in his 51 Ford, all decked out, aluminum heads, all that fun stuff. Anyway, the Y block was kind of a bastard child, so to speak. It was a bigger bore than the 239 flathead with a shorter stroke. So even though it was a bigger bore, shorter stroke, the displacement still came out to a 239 for the first year of this Y block. But finding, I'm sure somebody out there makes it. I just have to track them down and find them. But so far, I've been striking out. So that's part of the problem. Again, the owners are very adamant about trying to reuse the original motor, and I have to exhaust every option before I can fall back and punt on the bigger motor that I showed in the last video. So there's that, which we knew that was a possibility. I even said, I believe in the last video, I don't know if I have anything to work with. So there's that.
I'm so in love with you. You got me down again. Hold up. I'm so in love.
Okay, so I thought I'd stop with the teardown and take a few minutes to show you one of the unique things to a Y block. It's pretty much Y block only, if you will. So let me show you right quick. So when you're doing a Y block, one of the things that you have to remember when you're putting it back together is that the lifters, you put the lifters in first, and they come in from the bottom of the motor. Because remember, I got this motor, excuse me, this camera's freaking out, rotated. This is where the pan would go. So the motor is rotated, so this is the bottom. You put the lifters in from the bottom of the motor. You gotta put them in first before you can put the cam in. This isn't like a 302 or 351 Windsor, or even, your 350 Chevy motors where you can, put cam in, drop lifters in from up top. No, can't do that. Lifters have to go in first. And from what I've been told from certain people that have forgotten it, some say it's a pain in the butt, but you can get them in with the crank in, but it's a real huge pain in the butt. But you can't get them in once the cam's in. So if the crank's already in, you can still try to finagle them in there, but not if you have the rotating assembly. Like if you got pistons and rods hanging on the crank, you're not getting them in. But once you put that crank in, once you put that cam in, you're screwed. You gotta pull it back out and put them in. So no matter which motor I go to put together, I gotta make sure I'm on my A game that day and put the lifters the lifters in first. Now, one of the things that concerns me about this motor, I bet the camera isn't gonna be able to pick it up. It's not gonna be able to. You can kind of see it on that second lobe there, that little divot. That's because the first two lobes I see pitting. And anybody that's done motors have had them come apart from age or wear and tear, especially on big rigs. Once they start to pit and stuff starts coming out of them, it's not good. It's just a matter of time before it's going to go to crap. So, with that being said, I'm not sure we have anything to work with, because if you remember, we have pitting in the cylinders, and I know we can bore it. Obviously, we can bore it. The problem is I've been having trouble tracking down 239 Y block, not flathead pistons, Y block pistons, 239 Y block pistons that are 30, 40, 50, 60 over. I haven't been able to track any down. So if there's somebody out there that happens to know where a set is, before I get too deep into this other motor, because more than likely we're gonna have to go with the other motor. But if somebody else knows where they're at or where I can get them, let me know. I want a rod, because that rod didn't make the trip. It checked out a long time ago. Anyway, so not sure we have anything with this 239. Might have to go to Plan B. With that being said, I'm feeling better because I found some pictures of this over here. I found some pictures of the wheels already on like a 50s truck, and it actually looks better than I thought it would. So I'm considering doing the aging going ahead and moving forward with the aging process with this. Ultimately, it's not up to me, like I said before, it's going to be up to the customer. I'll let him look at the pictures of what I found with those wheels on this hub on these trucks, and we'll go from there. We'll let him make the decision. I'm sure him and his family members will get together and they'll look at him or maybe he'll just shoot from the hip. I don't know. But anyway, we're going to try fit them, make sure we're good there, which we should be. But then I got to work on the brakes, because last I checked, that wheel was all but locked up. It was locked up, and my grandfather actually was able to get it moving barely. That's why there's slide marks from when we dropped it off here, off the rollback. We had to kind of slide it in because I hadn't gotten the wheel dollies yet. So last I checked, that wheel's pretty much locked up, which the brakes have to be completely gone through anyway. We got to see what we got there and see if the drums are usable. Might have to have them turned, don't know yet. Our brake lathe machine has actually been broken for quite a few years at my family shop, so I don't have that option anymore. And then obviously we have to run new brake lines. That one's already been cut down yonder. New fuel lines. I'm pretty sure I got to redo the fuel tank. So the fuel tank back here was underneath the cab, underneath the step on the driver's side. But if we end up running EFI, you have to go with a certain style tank, right? These vented tanks like this, I don't think work. I have to check on that. But that's cool, because then it gives me an opportunity to have an excuse to make an aluminum fuel tank, right? And then just paint it to hide it or something like that. Anyway, so we got some work to do. Let's get at it. Okay. So I didn't shut my mouth and get back to work. Well, I kind of did, but I had a friend / customer that smacked a deer on 66 coming out of probably Prince William County, and yeah, he needed some parts, so I had to track down said parts. So I didn't get nothing else done. I take that back. I think you can see it back there. I took the engine off the engine stand after getting it all tore down so we can send it to the machine shop and see what we actually got. And good news, in that time period, I also found a place that makes 239 oversized pistons, I believe. So, the original motor might be saved yet. We'll have to see. Anyway, I'm gonna make this pretty short and sweet right now. We're gonna get it jacked up. We're gonna get this wheel off, take a look at the brakes, see what we got on this side, because I'm pretty sure I can get this drum off. If I remember right, my grandfather did get this wheel freed up a few months ago. So we'll get this wheel off, get the drum off. If that goes somewhat smoothly, I might attempt to do that this side this evening. We'll see. We'll see how it goes, all right? Anyway, here we go.
Hold up, get me down again.
So obviously, I don't know what they used, what this originally was, but it wasn't supposed to be an axle gasket. But hey, whatever works, you know? It definitely worked. I don't know what it was supposed to originally be, but it worked. That's rad. That's awesome. So, part of the story that we got when this came back to Shawnee Springs a few months ago, 2022, was when the Brathwaite brothers sold the truck. It went to a farmer in the Stevens City area, out off of Route 11 for all you locals that know the area. Before you get to what is now Southern States, which actually I think it just got sold out, but anyway, the Southern States petroleum place there was a big farm and a barn and all that stuff. And the story that we got is when the truck was sold from the Brathwaite brothers here in Cross Junction, who originally had the cannery, it went to a farmer over there. Now, that farm doesn't exist. That farm is now, like it seems to be everything else happening, is now townhomes and just big, suburbia wonderland. But anyway, it got sold to him and then it went to a junkyard. So somewhere along the line, I'm going to assume that what actually happened was the farmer was using the truck and he snapped an axle, because that was actually a pretty common thing with these. Snap an axle, or he needed to do brakes maybe. And he needed a way to seal it back up. Because let's just assume this was early 60s, mid 60s maybe even into the 70s this was done. And silicone wasn't that big a thing yet, I don't think. I'm not sure, maybe it was, but being this early, it wasn't very common. I know that, especially to an old farm boy. So you used whatever you had to use, and they used 25-foot incandescent cord light. Whatever. Man, it worked. That's cool. The thing was pretty dry, and you can clearly see it's now leaking, grease out of the differential. Cool to me. Don't know if it's cool to you, but it's cool to me. All right, it's been a few days since that last clip. And before anybody gets their panties in a wad and gives me a hard time, I went and got jack stands, okay? That way nobody gives me a hard time about the cinder block. I get it. I forgot them the other day. Improvised, all right? Give me a break. I don't like pulling tools out of my family shop to bring to this secret squirrel location, because you never know when I'm going to need a bunch of jack stands. We have a pile of them, but again, I'm not trying to take away from my family shop. However, when I got down here today, I noticed something. As I'm going through this build and I'm looking the truck over and I'm noticing little things, just unique little things. And I don't know if this is factory. I'm assuming it was just because of everything we know about this truck. But what I thought was neat is only on the passenger side is there a door lock, a spot for the key. And the stainless or chrome, whichever it is, I'd have to check, it's still nice and shiny. That's pretty rad to me. Not only that, it did have the original ignition key with it. And lo and behold, wait, wrong way, sorry, give me 1 second. Working one-handed here. It works. Unlock. Lock. It works. I don't know how, this thing's been sitting for years and years and years, and the original key to the door lock still works. That is so rad to me. But what I think is even more cooler, is the driver's side. There's no door lock. There is no keyhole for the key to go in to lock the door. I don't know. Matter of fact, there is no, I guess in the 50s there was no keyholes, there was no operation for that. on the door, any push downs. I have to do my research on that. I've never noticed that before. That's cool. And yes, this is the actual key that goes into the key switch. Oh, wait, wrong way again. Oh no, I done screwed up. Look, it's gonna make me a liar. Nope, still honest. Haha, I win. Anyway, original key. I thought that was crazy cool. The dumb little things amuse me, what can I say? Thought it was really neat, maybe you will too. Moving on, shall we?
I'm so in love with you.
Here's where I'm gonna mess some of the younger generation up. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. What? Oh my.
You got me down again.
This thing has done put a whooping on me, and I mean a whooping. So we're gonna fall back and punt because I'm tired of smashing my fingers and messing up my digits. Kind of need them to do my job. Here's what we got. I made no progress. Matter of fact, I took that stud had already come out. Took that stud out, thinking, well, maybe if I put the, it's not even a 2x4, but a piece of solid wood up here on the center, it would come down evenly and break loose, and the hub would fall out of the drum. Yeah, that didn't work. That didn't work. So my family shop just got in about 2-3 months ago this nice 100-ton press, 100% American made, and it's air over hydraulic, and I love using it. Love it, love it. So we're going to see how she holds up to that. Something tells me either it's going to go, I'm gonna break something, and then I'm really gonna be screwed because, again, I can't find these drums anywhere. Again, if somebody knows where to find them, message me. FaceSpace, the Grams, YouTube, I don't care. Email, LinkedIn. If you know where to get them, find me. Let me know. But we're gonna take that. I'll try to get some video footage of that, put it in the press, and hopefully nothing comes apart, right? Probably put a little PB blaster, little Justice Brothers down in there. Let it soak for a few hours. Probably do that tomorrow. I'll probably come down early in the morning, snag it, take it back to the family shop, soak it down while I'm tearing down a pack car. Yay! Love doing those. Anyway, while it soaks, do my normal job, do my normal work. That tomorrow evening I'll probably stick it in the press, and we'll see how she survives that. You know what I mean? But as you can probably see in the background, we have our lovely, lovely wheels. I got with the owner and we talked about it, looked them over. We actually found some pictures of some other people that are running these wheels on, or they're already on, like a 50s Ford to get a rough idea what it would look like. and it actually doesn't look that bad. So I kind of threw a little temper tantrum, a little biatch fit, if you will. Sorry about that. Trying to keep these PG-13, but anyway. Threw a little fit because, you know, they weren't how I wanted them to be. Wasn't what I wanted. Well, sometimes you don't get what you want. Anyway, we're going to clean these up. Actually, we're not going to clean these up. We're going to mess these up. I'm going to scuff them. We're going to do a little process. I'll probably do a video just on the wheels, on how I'm doing it. And we'll scuff them, throw some black paint on it, fade it, put some grooves, some scratches in it, do the artificial rust process, and I'll go over all that, how I'm going to do it, how I've done it in the past. You can kind of see how I faked it. Fake it till you make it, baby. Fake it till you make it. Faked it here on my toolbox. One of my toolboxes. But that's what I did. I didn't want nothing like all shiny, look at me. I just wanted something all scuffed up looking. But we'll do something kind of similar to that, but we'll throw in some rust on these wheels. So next episode is probably going to be just about the wheels. So if you want to know how to age something or how I go about doing it, there's a few different ways to do it, but how I'm going to do it, if you want to see that, tune into the next episode, because for this episode, we're done. I'm done. I'm pretty sure. Well, I say that. I might try to squeeze in the shot of the press slamming that thing down, because that's going to be so gratifying after smashing my fingers. But anyway, this episode's pretty much done. And I want to thank every single one of you. If you're still here, you're still watching all the way through this, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much. If you subscribe, hit the like button, comment down below what you think, what you don't like. You know, I don't care. Whatever you want. Whatever you want to see, just say something. You know what I mean? Make sure you check out shopprepmetalworks.com. Until the next time, peace.